Hi everyone, Cristy here with Aerybeth Sewing, and I am doing an updated buttonhole and button sewing tutorial. Okay, this machine that I have is basically just a standard electronic brother machine, and so that's what we'll be working with today. You'll need a buttonhole foot, and you will need a button foot. Okay, so these two come with this machine. Okay, all right, so the very first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and do the buttonhole. All right, so I'm going to take my button that I have and put it in the back. See, this opens up, and I'm going to put that in there and close it up. Okay, now on your machine you have a standard presser foot on there. Okay, and on the back of your machine, there's a little black button, and you push it and it falls off. Okay? Alright, so now, putting this under here, there's a little bar right here. And I'm going to lift my presser foot up higher, and we're going to put it underneath that. And you can kind of move it around until it catches, and you'll hear it click. Okay? So, you pick that up, and then you should hear it click. Okay? And the threads can go just to the back. Alright, so that's the first thing. You put your foot on, you put the button in the back. Now there's a little lever underneath here. Let's see if you can see that. Right here. Okay, you're going to pull that down and put it behind that first little notch. Okay, and there's actually a little diagram of a button on there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to choose our buttonhole. And I'm going to go with the 35, just a standard buttonhole. Okay, you can kind of test them out, any of those on scrap, and see which one you like. But 35 is like kind of like a standard. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to do 30, and you just leave everything like it is. Okay. All right. So now here, whether you're doing it on a shirt, on pants, on whatever you're sewing it on. We did little cuff bracelets in my young ladies sewing class today. And there's always a place where you want to have your button. Okay, so I'm going to take the button back out for a second. Okay, tilt this down here. Okay, here's this little piece. So I'm just going to pretend like even on a pattern there'll be little markings, and so you'll need to mark where you want your button. So say that this is a little bracelet end, and I'm going to put my button down, and that's where I want it. And so I'm going to mark at the top of it and at the bottom. This is just for me. Different people do it different ways. And then I'm going to draw a line in the center because that's where I want it. Okay. Okay. But make sure it's where you want it, and you make sure that your button is not going to hang off the edge. So you don't want it that close. You want it to make sure it's not hanging off. Okay, so that's where I want it. Okay, now I'm going to take my button and put it back in the back of my little buttonhole foot. Okay. All right, now there's a little window right there in the front. So buttonholes go backwards. So you wouldn't start here because it doesn't go forward, it goes backwards. So you put that first little line, I lift it up higher, and I find that little blue mark. You can kind of see it, that little line. I find that little line and put it in the front, and then I center my line, and you see in the back. So you make sure this is centered, and then you look at your fabric and make sure it's not twisted or diagonal. All right, once you have that like you like it, it's going to go backwards. Okay, and it's on 35, and this lever's down. You hit your pedal. And I don't speed it up too fast. I kind of go medium speed. And you just keep pressing your foot pedal. Now, if it gets stuck and it goes in one place too long, it's messing up. Go ahead and stop immediately and take it out and restart it. Always do it on the scrap first. And see, I'm still pressing the pedal, but it's done. I hit my needle up button or rotate my hand wheel, and then I pull it out, and there it is. All right, cut off my threads. Okay, now you can do this a couple ways. You can do a seam ripper, and I did this the other day and actually went and seam ripped it right off. You can also take a pair of scissors. Make sure you're clipping right in the center of that buttonhole, and you just do a little clip to start with, and then you can finish clipping it. Okay, then you can take your button off and test it out and make sure it's going to work. And it does. Okay, so there's your buttonhole. Now you can put your lever back up, because if you start sewing with the lever down, it's going to beep at you. Lever back up, press your foot off, and then you can put your other one back on to sew. But we're going to put this one back on. This is to sew the actual button on. You can do it by hand, but if it has 2 holes or 4 holes, you can sew it on with the machine. All right, so we're going to blue teeth in the front, lift it up, snap it on. Okay, now the same way that you needed a place for your buttonhole, you have a certain place you would want your button. So say that we want it at the other end. Okay, so say that I want it right there. Okay, so there's my little center point. Okay, all right, so I'm going to take this. Now, for your sewing your button, you know how these little things right here are called feed dogs? That pulls the fabric in. Well, we want to turn those off. So we're going to turn it over. Okay, on the back of your machine, there's this little slide. And so what we're going to do, okay, if you can see this, turn it back around. I'm going to reach around there, but I want you to look, these right here, these feed dogs, I'm going to push the button and they go down, because we don't want it to pull in fabric because we have the button. It needs to stay put, and we're going to do a zigzag. And so some machines have a button setting, but if they don't, you can turn to a 4. Okay, now usually I have to go up a couple of notches. Okay, I don't move that. That right there is your width. Okay, so that 4.5 is your width. So that's how far apart the zigzags are going to go, like back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so we're going to test it out before we sew, because we'll break a needle on the plastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the feed dogs are off, the button foot is on, and I'm going to put that little circle right in the center. Okay, but now I'm going to slide that button up underneath there and try to center those 2 little baby holes right between. Now, I'm not for certain that it's going to not hit the plastic, right? Okay, so I'm going to roll it down very slowly. There's my thread. Make sure the thread is pulled out to the back. Now, see, okay, so that did okay. So I'm going to go down, but then I need to go up, and then I'm going to go down very slowly, and it's kind of hitting the edge. So my 4.5, I can actually move it back down to a 4. There we go. But now I need to make sure the other side's still okay. So I'm going to roll it down again. And once I get both of them good, I can hit my pedal. Alright. Do it a few times, and then pull it out, and you can cut off your threads. Okay. And then there's your button. Alright, now I want to show you this one. Here's a 4 one. Alright, so I'm going to make a little dot. You'll have a spot that you want your button, so you just choose your spot and make sure you can see it. Okay, I'm going to tuck my threads back behind again and find that blue dot, put that blue dot in the middle. Okay, Now, I'm going to slide this. Now, if a button's real big and thick, you can actually lift this up higher. All right, but normally, buttons like this, you do diagonal. All right, so I'm going to put this right on that blue dot and center it that way. So you're going to do one here. Remember, always test it out. Test the other one. And once you have those right, you can hit your pedal. Always test it, because you'll break a needle in a second. All right, now I've done that one. Now I'm going to pick it up just a little. You don't have to pick it up all the way. Just pick it up a little. And I'm going to turn it and center those next two. And then I'm going to test it again. Now it's getting the edge, so I'm going to pick it up and just move it. One. There you go. Okay, needle up, pressure fit up, pull it out, and you can cut off your threads. I never cut my threads off short because I end up having to rethread, so I just kind of pull them out long, and then you can cut off all your threads. But that's how you do those, and you can trim them off closer. But that's how you do your button and your buttonhole. Oh, now we're going to take this off, lift it up. We're going to put our other one back on, but remember our feed dogs are off, so it won't pull the fabric in. So you reach around to the back, and they don't pop up automatically, so I kind of hold my threads and rotate it around, and then you'll see the feed dogs pop back up. All right, happy sewing. Have a wonderful day.